up, y'all? It's Mariah Elise, and I'm back with another banging semester recap. So let's go ahead and get into the tea. Let me spill it for you. So this semester was one for the books. Definitely one I will never forget. And that is for two reasons. One, I feel like it consisted of true graduate level classes. Like, I assumed that this is what grad school was. So first semester, I was pleasantly surprised by how smooth sailing it was, but this semester was like, boom, you're in it now. At least this is what I assumed online grad school would be like, but we know we're not paying online grad school tuition. We're paying virtual grad school tuition. So when I say that I feel like this was a true grad school experience, I mean that we had lectures for 4 hours straight. The professor popped the PowerPoint up on the Blackboard Collaborate and talked through it. Talked and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And at the end of each lecture, you were still sitting there wondering what the main idea, the big picture of everything was. So you still had to go back and comb through and, you know, make it make sense to yourself. You know, I felt like they just kind of gave you the material and said, ready, set, go figure it out. Figure out the order of it, organize it in your whatever way makes sense to you. Yeah, my classmates were not too thrilled about that. They felt that there was not a lot of structure, at least compared to last semester where everything was broken up in modules and everything was pretty clear. This one, once you got to the end of the unit, you definitely felt like the lectures were a little out of order and that they could have been presented better for us to understand the full picture and then the nitty-gritty details to contribute to that full picture. And this semester, along with 4-hour lectures, we as a class probably split up into groups and got to interact with each other like twice. So that sucked. If it wasn't for my study partner in crime, I would have gone stir crazy. I literally didn't talk to anybody but her, my tutors, and then classmates when we did those 2 small group lectures. Okay, and the second reason this semester is pretty unforgettable, and first and foremost, it took a lot for me to come on here and make this video and put it on the internet for everyone to see, but I said I would be as candid as possible throughout this journey, and I'm hoping that someone can watch this and maybe use it as motivation or can relate to this and realize that their situation can always turn around. This semester, I got what I can't think of any other time this has happened. I failed an exam. I literally did not pass it. I'm glad I got that off my chest. And before you start lecturing me about it, just listen. So at the beginning of the semester, I made a video, I'll attach it up here, about my study method. Basically, I was doing these pictorial study guides that were objective based. You know, I would go to the objectives and then comb through the lectures and the readings and answer the objectives. We were given PDFs to read and I would read them. They were pretty thorough. I didn't necessarily use any outside resources, which is very unlike me, but that was kind of just the gist of it. She made it clear everything you need to know is in this PDF and on these PowerPoints. So I felt, if it's clear enough to me, then why do I need extra resources? Really, the pictorials, they would have been good if I had a better grasp of the material in general. The pictorials are good for review, so I won't discredit that as a method of studying, but it's not good for your first exposure to material and really trying to understand that material. So still, go check that video out. One thing I wish I would have done that I ended up doing was doing a lot more second order questions. I was doing a lot of recall, but not enough problem-based, clinic-based questions, which was literally the whole exam. And I don't know why I didn't. I think it's because we were kind of told it's not going to be too clinical, just know the material, if that makes sense. And it is enough to know the material, but I believe practice questions are kind of the way of life. You know, application, applicable scenarios in which you can take that information that you learn and apply it And if you get the question right, then that means you truly understand the material. Given my poor grade, anyone who did not get a 70 or higher had to meet with the professor. So we met, and you know, she's kind of like, why didn't you study higher order questions? You know, why did you think it was going to be basic? And really, a lot of my classmates made study guides, and I just went off of theirs. And we spoke with the current first and second year DO students, and they made these massive PowerPoints that had tons of practice questions, but they were still basic baseline questions. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. This is gonna be fine, I got it. But I'm talking to this professor and she says something very pivotal. She says, you have two options. You can either do really well in the next two exams, or you can drop the class. And I'm not sure what type of student you are. I don't know if you're the type to be able to pull that off or not. So that's something you need to figure out. You have until the last day of the course to drop. And it really kind of took me aback. I was like, don't know what type of student I am, because I've never heard that before. I have always done well in school, and those around my professors are always known. And even if they didn't know me, they heard that I did well, and or they just assumed. So for this lady to be like, I don't know what type of student you are, it really put things in perspective. It humbled me. It made me think, you know what? You don't know what type of student I am. But let me show you, and let me show myself that I am capable of getting a good grade. So I had to start from scratch. I went old school, ditched the iPad, and got my trusty old pen and paper. Now, unfortunately, I did not film a single moment of this study process because I was so, like, I didn't have time. I could not try to manage vlogging and studying. So I'm just gonna show you the general gist of what I was doing. Basically, I would wake up early in the morning, like 7 a.m., work out for about 45 minutes to an hour, eat, shower, then hit the books. And I would do that literally all day long with not too many breaks. And it's not that I'm advocating for that at all, but that's just what worked for me. I'm the type of person that once I get into the zone, I don't really like to break my focus, because sometimes it's hard for me to get back into that zone that I was in. So I'm a person who has stamina to study all day long. It's fine. I mean, definitely by like day 5, I might need a day off, but it's likely I'm more efficient when I can study for long hours without distractions, breaks, things like that. But when I did break, it was to eat, of course. On the days I had class, I would break for class and then continue to review more material for like an hour to 2 hours after class. This specific unit was really interesting to me. It was a lot of pathways, biochemical pathways, and that's kind of my groove. I was like, why not? Why not keep going, you know? I'm riding a wave, let me keep going. So my method of study was I took the title of the lecture, jotted down some key points that were in the objective and or throughout the PowerPoint, and I went on YouTube and searched videos. I would watch videos. I would take notes on those videos. I don't know what it was about their lectures that I just immediately grasped the concept. I did not have to rewatch the video, didn't have to slow it down. I got to a point where I was watching videos on 1.52 speed. The people I watched were AK Lectures, Armando Asudagun, and Ninja Nerd. Those 3 are the GOAT. The 3 of you, if you ever see this video, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I would be in the dust right now. So thank you. AK Lectures videos are anywhere from 6 minutes to maybe 15 minutes. Armando, about the same. Ninja Nerds, his are a little longer. His videos would be anywhere from like 16 minutes to an hour and a half. I tended to stick to the shorter videos because I wanted to retain as much information and then start doing practice questions. But yeah, I'm gonna show you how many notes I took. This is my notebook, right? Literally, all this. All these notes. I have notes, diagrams, like the whole 9 yards, just literally for one exam. And thank you to my tutor. She gave me her Anki decks, and I probably went to tutoring with her 2 times a week. When it got closer to the exam, maybe like 3, she would have me go through the lectures and basically teach her the material to really make sure that I understood them in a way that I can understand them for the exam. So really shout out to her. If you ever are hesitant about going to tutoring, go. Like, it's okay to ask for help and need it and receive it, because you will reap the benefits. So I finished reviewing all the material about 4 or 5 days before the exam. Then I started going through her Anki decks. I started going through Quizlet flashcards, and then my study partner and I started going back and forth asking each other questions. Finally got to the point where I was able to generate questions that were on the level of the exam, and I just felt so good. I feel like I knew that unit like the back of my hand, in my opinion, right? Now we got to the exam, I basically breezed through it. There were a couple questions on there that did trip me up, and I was like, It was either the wording of it or the way I read it and understood it was not what they were asking. So I will say a couple of those questions when we did have our group review got thrown out. Then boom, there it was. Your girl got the A. Like, I literally did it. I literally turned it around from F to A. And my whole motto was, everything's fine, it can be done. It can be done. Anything is possible. It can be done. Everything's fine, just buckle down. Literally, this was me. Buckle down, it can be done. Now, I do not advocate for the extreme studying method that I did, because there was not a lot of balance. If you have the time and you like to study all day long, then do that. But really what it helped me establish was the technique in which I would study, as far as going onto YouTube, watching shorter videos that condense the material and present it in a way that I can understand it, so I can cover as much material as I can and then go back and do a lot of practice questions. I did carry that method into the next unit, and it did save me some time. I was able to do more practice questions. I'm gonna keep going with that method for this next coming semester, which actually starts tomorrow. I just have my final, so please send a prayer up. And you know, I'm really just gonna try to finish out this year strong as possible. So thank you for watching, and thank you for everybody that have been checking up on me, supporting me through all this, and of course watching this channel. Don't forget to subscribe for good vibes, and I will see y'all in the next one.